There is news on Lupin and the stock, well, it's marginally in the red right now. We are waiting for more details on this. The USFDA has issued a warning letter to its Goa and Pithampur Unit 2. So that's the news coming in on Lupin, and the stock, of course, is marginally in the red right now, but we'll wait for it to kind of get digested a little more by the markets. The USFDA having issued that warning letter to companies, the Goa and Pithampur Unit 2. We will wait for the outcome of this and perhaps get you more insight into what this really means for the company. But of course, as far as the markets are concerned, we're looking at the kind of cuts that are coming into the markets right now. The IT index, like I said, has been buzzing. Cipla Q2 numbers are coming in, so they're expected today. And let's pull up that stock since we're talking about Lupin as well. Cipla's numbers are going to come, and a percentage point cut is what we're reporting over there. Media stocks are drawing some amount of traction today, and among the broader markets, I see bigger cuts coming in as opposed to the benchmarks right now. A stock like Jain Irrigation taking quite big cut. Precious metals, let's talk about that. Gold and silver have been swinging between red and green territory today, and that's something that we're watching. And the Indian rupee trading stronger against the US dollar at around 64.82 against the US dollar. That's where the Indian rupee is currently trading. So news coming in on Lupin. Let's concentrate on that. The stock is still only marginally in the red, but it has got this warning letter for two of its units, Goa 1 and the one in Indore in Pithampur. That's the Unit 2 of Lupin. Milan Sharma, the Managing Director at Rivergate Capital, is joining us with his perspective on this. Milan, what do you make of this warning letter that has been issued by USFDA? How do you think that's going to reflect on the company and the stock?
Hi, good afternoon. See, as far as the USD, I think, is concerned, it's a part and parcel of the entire pharma pack, because all of the pharma companies, they have to deal with the FDA. And these kind of warning letters and these kind of approvals and all, they keep on coming. So I would not be unduly worried about until unless something very severe is, some severe observations are seen in the letter. On the contrary, we are quite hopeful that the kind of the quarter results we've been posted, and we're quite excited about it. And we do believe that, we see a fundamental value in Lupin going forward. So from my perspective, if some more negative news comes in and Lupin drops down by some more points, and it was a good time to accumulate the stock rather than exiting the stock on some kind of thing. So I would remain, though I remain a bit cautious, but I think any dip has to be used as a buying opportunity for a stock like Lupin, because I think there's a huge upside for a stock like Lupin and other pharma companies.
All right, Milan, hold on for a minute, because I seem to have some more detail that's coming in from my colleague Hiral. She's going to tell us a little bit more about this setback that we're looking at. Hiral, just take us through what exactly it means, what that whole warning letter is all about, and also, of course, what the relevance of these two units is.
Right. So overall, if you go to see in terms of the USFDA concern goes right now, what they've done is they've issued warning letter, and this is a combined warning letter that has been issued by the USFDA to Lupin, and this is in terms of their Goa facilities concerned as well as where Pithampur to go. Now, the management is also indicating that yes, the letter is disappointing when it's coming at such a time, and they're really disappointed to have received this kind of an outcome. Now, the major expectation coming in over here is that on the back of the warning letter, there will be a delay in approvals from this side. In fact, post earnings as well, the management had indicated earlier that in terms of where resolution at sites is concerned, that is something that they are working on priority with, and they were expecting a resolution to come out soon, but this has completely been an opposite situation here. The product launches that were expected to be fastened from here on will get delayed because Pithampur and Goa have a large contribution in terms of where US revenues go. Overall, if you go to see in April 2017, the Goa unit had received around 3 483s, and in terms of where the Pithampur unit 2 was concerned, that had received around 6 warning letters, 6 483s. So overall, yes, this is a major concern coming in here for Lupin, because the launches that they were expecting the growth to come in terms of our FY18 was concerned, that will get delayed on the back of this, and this is a major concern wherein Pithampur as well as Goa, both these units have been given a combined warning letter now.
All right, let's also connect with Sarabjit Kaur. She's joining us with further insight on what this really means to Lupin as a company and a stock. Sarabjit, what's your perspective? And this at a time that we are seeing such a deep cut coming in. The stock is reacting wildly. 10.5% cuts are already coming in on Lupin. Market doesn't like this news, as one would expect. But from a longer-term perspective, we were talking to our other expert who says that any dips on Lupin should be seen as an opportunity to buy. Would you concur with this? How serious do you think this is?
See, I'm not seeing the exact nature of observations, but whatever the press release that they have released, I think they have said that immediate business doesn't stop its future approvals and definitely their launches, which will have an impact. So to that extent, yeah, it is negative, but the magnitude, the way they have said it probably points out that, it's not a big issue because observation is a common nature of USFDA. They tend to give observations and it's a regular affair with USFDA. Lupin has already gone through a couple of months back, and so it's a normal activity which is happening. The severity of the observations determine whether it's a long-drawn battle or the immediate one. Seems like a short battle, not a very big one. So I guess, yeah. And as to stock buying, we already had a buy on the stock primarily because the stock is already underperformed in a big way compared to other pharma companies, and its trailing basis of the valuations are pretty comfortable, and today's fall is decent. So I guess, yeah, long-term investors find such opportunities only to get into the stock. So I think for long-term investor, definitely it's a good opportunity to get in.
Right. Sarabjit, if you could just tell us if you take into consideration Goa as well as Pithampur Unit 2, what's the kind of US contribution do they actually give you?
Yeah, I don't have plant-wise filing so far. Probably company will give it now since the plants are under consideration. I right now don't have a plant-wise classification as to how many ANDAs would have been filed through this.
Okay, and any key launches that were expected from Pithampur 2 as well as Goa in the next 6 months?
Losses in the sense?
Any new launches that you were expecting from Pithampur 2 and Goa?
As a pharma analyst, I never include very big ticket launches unless they get launched because there are event risks like USFDA import warning letters. Then you have legal battles. So as far as my numbers goes, we have not included that. So inside of that, I think stock is pretty attractive. So I'm not so concerned about that growth part of it. What I'm concerned is how long this battle will be there for these plants at least who have come under radar. I think beyond that, I think the stock has already underperformed in a big way, as I said, and it's unlike other companies like Cadila and other pharma companies which have done fairly well because they have no plants currently under scrutiny and they have parafoods getting launched this quarter. They will report those numbers. So I guess pharma is exhibiting polarity in terms of stocks which are having good news. They are shooting up significantly. Stocks with bad news are battered badly. So I guess that's the case with Lupin and Sun both. Sun probably will move towards some consolation, and with Lupin, this news I think will take a bit of hit, but probably I think the stock has already done that part already, I guess.
Right, but Sarabjit, the way history has panned out, how long do you think will it take for Lupin to get a resolution in terms of Goa as well as Pithampur 2?
I wouldn't like to put a guess on it because it's companies like Sun is also finding it difficult to do halal out of it. So it's not something very sacrosanct. It depends upon the severity of observation. So unless I know the nature of observation, it's difficult to make a comment on that. Just by going by companies, if I have to go by companies' comment, then probably what they have said is that it's not that detrimental that it will impact the immediate business. So it shows that it's not gone till import alert, so they have time to rectify it. So I will reserve my comments as a timeline because that's something very sticky upon the nature of observation. But I think going by their language, I guess probably if it gets rectified faster, and Lupin has a history of rectifying it faster than other Indian companies. So if you have to take a comfort, then probably you probably shouldn't be seeing much damage happen.
All right, Sarabjit. Pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for getting us all the details. But Vikram, overall, if you go to see, they've clearly indicated that they've received a warning letter by the USFDA. This did happen on the 6th of November, and this is for the formulation manufacturing facility Goa as well as Indore, that's the Pithampur Unit 2. Now, overall, they had earlier received 3 Form 483 observations in Goa on the 7th of April and 6 Form 483 observations in Pithampur on the 19th of May. They had responded to all these observations as well, but apparently seems that the USFDA is not happy with the response that Lupin had given to them. On the back of this, they are deeply disappointed to have received this kind of a warning letter for both these units. And, just to know that both these units are really critical in terms of where US business is concerned. However, they have indicated that the current supplies will not be disrupted in terms of where both these units go. However, the future launches will be something that will be delayed going ahead as well. In fact, we have Amal Chalke also who's joining us. Amay, to start off with, first, a real disappointment for Lupin in terms of the warning letter for Goa as well as Pithampur too. Amay, can you hear me? I think we've just lost his line. We will try connecting back with him. But overall, there will be no disruption in terms of the existing product supplies from either of these locations. However, there will be a delay of new product approvals from these two facilities. Ahmed, Hiral on this side, a real disappointment for a Lupin with the warning letter for Goa as well as Pithampur too.
Yes, so both these are important plants for Lupin concerning the US market. So this is a disappointment for the company at this point of time, because considering they have received warning letter, they will not be able to receive new product approvals from these facilities till this warning letter is resolved.
Right. Amay, according to you, what percentage of revenue contribution could have come from Goa as well as Pithampur too?
So, in terms of percentage, on the US side, it would be around 20%, but that is just a ballpark number I'm giving. I don't have the exact estimates, because 900 million is what they are expected to do in FY18, and I believe 490 million would be coming from the Indian facilities. So, half of it we can assume for the Goa and the Pithampur unit.
In terms of where the second half of FY18 was concerned, what were the new launches, do you think, that would have been filed from Goa and Pithampur too, which could now get delayed?
So there are various filings, but the exact filings we need to ask for the management. The reason being is management is also filing from the multi-facilities. So even if that product has been filed from the Goa or the Pithampur Unit 2, they could have filed it from the other facility as well if it is an important product filing. So that for that, obviously, we need to wait for the management commentary to come in.
Okay, and Amay, any timeline that you think that would take for clearances to come on both these plants now?
So that depends upon how quickly Lupin is able to resolve these issues, and typically warning letter takes at least 1.5 years to get resolved. So that has been the history. But in case of DVs, we have seen the import alert getting lifted within 10 months' time. So we need to see how the management respond to all this.
Amay, what is typically Lupin's reaction to such warning letters? Historically, how well have they done? How quickly have they been able to resolve it?
So there has been only one such instances where enforcement action was taken against their plant, but that was back in 2009. Since then, their regulatory record was good. Only in 2015, I guess the Goa plant faced some issues, but they were able to clear the 483s after 8 months. So they did not receive any warning letter or import alert. So their history has been good, but we need to see how they respond at this point of time.
Right. So, Amay, with everything said and done currently, do we expect a re-rating in terms of where Lupin is concerned from here on?
D-rating, you're asking?
That's right, D-rating.
Yes. So, I guess if you see their FY18 EPS, my number is around 42 rupees. So if you assume core EPS, it should be around 32 to 33 rupees kind of a EPS. So obviously, I'm expecting stock to come down significantly over next few days on the back of these warning letters, both on the back of derating and on the back of earning cuts, basically.
You know, but at this point in time, Amay, that stock is taking a deeper and deeper cut, 15% cut as we speak right now. The markets don't seem to like this piece of news at all. The warning letter being issued by USFDA to Lupin for two of its units, and that's Goa and Pithampur 2 in near Indore. So that is obviously a telltale sign. And historically speaking, of course, that one instance where Lupin has been able to resolve it pretty quickly. But of course, timelines are going to be important. And as far as the US business is concerned, how much of that is going to get affected because of this is something that we'll have to wait and watch and get much more clarity on. But a 15% cut is real, and it's happening right now on Lupin. Thanks very much, Amay Chalke, for sharing your perspective as well. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what IT stocks are doing. They are buzzing, and how. 14-month high is where we're seeing the IT index at this point in time. The stocks that are buzzing, well, all across the board actually. HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra, Oracle, Infosys.